Welcome to Mystery Chronicles, where we dive deep into some of the most intriguing and mysterious stories from around the world. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Our universe. Vast, mysterious, and full of wonders. Imagine a world parallel to ours. Similar, yet subtly different. Could there be a place where history unfolded differently, creating alternate versions of countries, cultures, even ourselves? This is the heart of our story. A story that begins, as many mysteries do, at an airport. The year was 1954, a time of post-war recovery and geopolitical tension. At Tokyo International Airport, amidst the bustling crowds and the drone of airplanes, a man arrived, seemingly ordinary, yet harboring a secret that would baffle the world. The man's documents appeared genuine. They were issued by the country of Taured, a country no one at the airport had ever heard of. He spoke several languages fluently, including Japanese, but with an unusual accent. He carried currency that seemed to be from several European countries, a strange mix for someone claiming to be from a nation unknown to the world. As officials investigated further, the mystery deepened. The man insisted that Taured was a country in Europe, situated between France and Spain. He spoke of its history, its culture, and its people, with an air of familiarity that was both convincing and unsettling. He even provided details about Taured's geography and landmarks, confidently pointing them out on a map. But when presented with a modern map, he was baffled. The country he described, the country he insisted on being from, simply wasn't there. The man's arrival at Tokyo International Airport was as unremarkable as any other weary travelers. He joined the queue at passport control, a nondescript figure amidst the throng of passengers. His demeanor was calm, his movements assured, nothing to suggest he was about to become the epicenter of an enduring mystery. When his turn came, he presented his passport, a perfectly ordinary document except for one glaring anomaly. The passport bore the stamp of Taured, its pages filled with official-looking visas and entry stamps, a testament to a history of travel to familiar nations. The immigration officer, a seasoned professional accustomed to a kaleidoscope of languages and nationalities, politely requested the man to state his country of origin. Taured, the man replied, his voice tinged with a hint of an accent that was difficult to place. The officer, assuming a simple mispronunciation, scanned the passport again. The officer, bewildered, excused himself momentarily. He consulted his colleagues, whispering in hushed tones. None had heard of Taured. Their whispers grew, attracting more officials. The man, unperturbed, awaited their return. He lit a cigarette, scanning the airport. Two officers approached him with curiosity. "Sir, we can't locate your country. Could you point it out on this map?" He confidently pointed between France and Spain. "Sir," the senior officer said, his voice a blend of confusion and concern, "that is Andorra. Are you sure you are not mistaken about your country of origin?" The man, His brow furrowed slightly for the first time, shook his head. No. This is Taured. I have been there many times before. It is a country with a long and rich history. He proceeded to describe Taured with remarkable detail, speaking of its ancient cities, its unique culture, and even its economic activities. His knowledge seemed impeccable, his conviction unshakable. Yet, the officials were no closer to unraveling the mystery. The senior officer, now convinced they were dealing with more than a simple case of mistaken identity, decided to escalate the situation. He politely requested the man to accompany them to a private room for further questioning. The man, still composed, agreed without hesitation. The officials, now joined by a translator fluent in several European languages, settled around a table. In a quiet room, the man seated opposite them. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, a mixture of curiosity and apprehension hanging in the air. The senior officer began the questioning, his tone polite yet firm. Sir, we need to clarify some discrepancies in your story. You claim to be from Taured, yet our records show no such country exists. The man, unfazed by the scrutiny, calmly responded, I understand your confusion, but I assure you, Taured is a real country. It has existed for centuries. Sensing their growing fascination, the man reached into his pocket and produced a leather wallet. He carefully extracted several bills and coins, a curious assortment of currency bearing unfamiliar insignias and denominations. This is the currency of Taured, he explained, spreading the money on the table. The officials leaned forward, their eyes widening in astonishment. The bills were crisp and new, adorned with intricate designs and watermarks, bearing the unmistakable hallmarks of authentic currency. The coins, too, were unlike anything they had ever encountered. They were crafted from a strange metal, heavier than silver, yet not quite gold, each one stamped with the profile of a ruler they did not recognize. The officials, despite their growing unease, were impressed by the man's apparent sincerity. He answered their questions with unwavering confidence, his demeanor calm and collected. However, the more he spoke, the deeper the mystery became. His knowledge of Taured was impeccable, yet his claims clashed violently with their understanding of geography and history. The senior officer, a seasoned professional, accustomed to separating truth from fiction, found himself struggling to reconcile the man's story with the evidence before him. He excused himself from the room, clutching the man's passport and the strange currency, his mind racing with questions. The senior officer hurried back to his office, his mind awhirl with questions. He spread the man's passport and the strange currency on his desk, as if by sheer force of will, he could unravel the truth they held. His gaze fell upon a detailed map of Europe hanging on his wall, a tapestry of nations, woven together by shared borders and a common history. With a mix of apprehension and hope, he located Andorra, the tiny principality nestled between France and Spain. The place the man insisted was Taured. He traced the borders of Andorra with his finger, his brow furrowed in concentration. It was, indeed, a small nation, easily overlooked, but it was undeniably there, a geographical fact etched onto the map. The senior officer, his frustration mounting, decided to consult with his superiors. He relayed the details of the case, his voice a low murmur in the quiet office. His superiors, initially skeptical, listened intently. They too were baffled. They had no knowledge of any country called Taured. They advised him to keep the man under observation. The senior officer returned to the room where the man was being held. He opened the door slowly, only to be met with an empty chair. The man was gone. And the disappearance of the man from Taured sent shockwaves through the corridors of Tokyo International Airport. Whispers of the mysterious traveler spread like wildfire. A blend of fascination and fear rippling through the staff. The officials involved in the case were questioned, their accounts scrutinized, but no explanation for the man's vanishing act could be found. The airport, typically a hubbub of activity and human transit, took on an eerie silence, as if the very air was thick with the weight of the unknown. The story, initially contained within the confines of the airport, eventually leaked to the press, igniting a firestorm of speculation and intrigue. The man from Taured became a global sensation. His story, a Rorschach test onto which people projected their own beliefs and fears. The mystery of the man from Taured, a story woven from equal parts intrigue and impossibility, has captivated imaginations for decades, fueling countless theories and speculations. The most compelling of these, the one that tugs at the very fabric of our understanding of reality, is the concept of parallel universes. Could this man, with his genuine-looking documents and his detailed knowledge of a non-existent country, be a visitor from another dimension, a traveler who stumbled through a rift in the space-time continuum, finding himself stranded in a world both familiar and utterly alien? The theory of parallel universes, once relegated to the realm of science fiction, has gained traction in recent years, bolstered by advancements in theoretical physics and cosmology. And another theory, less rooted in theoretical physics and more in the realm of psychology, suggests that the man from Taured was a victim of a rare and elaborate delusion. Could he have, through some quirk of psychology, constructed an entirely false narrative? A world so real in his own mind that he believed it with unwavering conviction? Perhaps he suffered from a condition known as confabulation, a neurological disorder that causes individuals to create false memories, often to fill in gaps in their own personal history. And these memories, though fabricated, are experienced as real by the individual, blurring the line between truth and delusion. Whatever the explanation, the mystery of the man from Taured serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of our perception of reality. The man from Taured vanished as abruptly as he appeared, leaving behind a legacy of unanswered questions. Despite decades of speculation, his true origin remains a mystery. Was he a traveler from a parallel dimension or a master of deception? The evidence offers no conclusive answers, only a trail of breadcrumbs leading into speculation. The story of the man from Taured reminds us of the vastness of the unknown. It beckons us to look beyond the familiar, to explore the boundaries of our perceived reality. Perhaps in a parallel universe, Taured exists, a thriving nation with its own unique culture and history. Or perhaps the true mystery lies in the boundless capacity of the human mind. The man from Taured tapped into our fascination with the unknown. His story ignited our imagination, reminding us that the universe is full of mysteries. The man from Taured may have vanished, but the questions he raised continue to resonate.